I do want to bring the conversation back to Cam Newton. It's easy to overlook the stats because it was all that was needed in this game. He wasn't asked to do much. He didn't need to do much. They established the tone with the running the ball. They did, as you said, McDaniels had a great game script to start things out. They were able to establish the run it effectively. Newton was a battering ram when he needed to be, scored a couple of touchdowns, which he's been doing all year. The passing, again, 12 of 19, 69 yards. However, I will say a couple of things that stood out to me, and tell me, what else you saw here. Sure, he had a low throw or two, but he picked up pressure a little bit better than I think he has in weeks past, getting the ball out quicker, recognizing that it was coming and making the right read. I do think that there was the mentality of see what you got, take it, and if not, go, which we've been saying is what they should be doing with Cam here. So it seemed like this really, really played to his strengths this week. The question I'll ask, the follow-up will be, is it enough? Because but first off, just your thoughts on his performance.
Well, I thought that they actually put more on his plate than what actually would appear because of the lack of passing and the lack of production in the passing game. So what they were doing is they have now kind of gotten to the point where they're kind of allowing Cam to read the box before the snap. And he's going to move the blockers depending on where they're kind of aligning, whether they're aligning to the strength of the formation or they're aligning heavy towards the weak side of the formation. Just little things that you heard on the broadcast that the mics were picking up where he said, okay, when he calls out things that have sort of a name to it, right? And I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but he's moving the fullback, he's moving the run
of a couple of plays.
Right, yeah, he's moving the direction of the run is what is happening. The run's supposed to hit left, but the defense has you out leveraged to the left, so we're going to make the run hit right? Little things like that.
He had one with Harris for a 10-yard pickup there. Yeah, he had a couple of those.
Right, and then you also have to remember what he's doing after the snap and as a part of the running game as well with the reads, the read option type of plays or the speed option type of plays, him being able to read the end and make the right decision off of those. He had a really good one that he kept himself for that 14-yarder where he really got Bosa to cheat in upstairs, inside, and was able to run it out the backside and, things like that. So even though it's not the passing game, right? It's not like we're putting as much on him in the passing game as maybe you have seen in the past from a Brady or somebody like that. The amount of information that he is processing in the running game, both before and after the snap, is significant. It's something that does deserve kind of credit, and something that we should be talking about is that this team would not run the football this effectively if number one wasn't under center, if Cam Newton wasn't there. And this is why every single time Jarrett Stidham's name comes up, that was a great throw by Jarrett Stidham to Gunner. No doubt about it. That's a nice throw, right? But the problem is that you lose the entire Cam Newton running game aspect of your offense. And what's going to be easier to hang your hat on, your running game or Stidham coming in and being able to throw the football? I'm not sure that you can really say that Stidham's consistent enough as a thrower to outweigh what you're getting from Cam as a runner. And that's definitely what we saw here today, was a lot on Cam's plate as a runner, both before and after the snap, and his ability to get the offense into the right play.
Well, that's the thing. And you could make a different argument. And I think this is ultimately what it boils down to with the Patriots is this team, because of its weapons and its limitations and the way that it's constructed right now, suits Cam Newton's skill set better because of the running option. If the Patriots had, 3-4, tier 1 receivers right now out there and Cam's just not able to get them the ball, you might say, okay, maybe we need more of a thrower in there. But because they don't have that, I agree. I don't know what you gain with Stidham. I think the Stidham conversation keeps coming back to just curiosity. Everything about him has been based on what people have said. Whether or not, and for a while it was they really like the kid, and then it became they really don't like the kid. And what you've seen in very limited action with him is something that just you can't judge based off of the limited snaps that he's been able to play. So I think that's really what it comes down to, is you wonder if the unknown is better than the known. And that's where that conversation is going to keep coming in. I don't think Newton silenced any critics necessarily, but I do think that
I think it's frustrating.
I think the heat's going to come off it some, because
it should. I think the frustrating thing is that the running game is not sexy. It's just not sexy. It's not what people want to see. It doesn't put up fantasy points for
It
Cam
was
Newton.
fun. The first part of this game was actually fun watching
Yeah,
that offense, especially
right.
since McDaniels kind of dialed up some more interesting stuff, I thought. But anyway, you're right. It isn't the sexiest thing in the world to just hand the ball off, 5 yards in a cloud of dust
Right.
or whatever. Right.
It's not the same excitement. And I think a lot of ways, not to trash on fantasy football here, this is the fantasy football effect of how we watch the game, is that everything is so much about the passing game in fantasy. Yeah,
I mean, yes and no.
you got your quarterback, all the good running backs are the guys that catch the ball out of the backfield. It is.
To a degree, though, Evan, the analytics clearly now favor passing teams over running teams.
If you run it this well, though, then they don't, right? That's the difference.
Yes, but the path to success for most teams is through the air, not the ground, in terms of you look at the teams who are the most successful teams. So that's what you aspire to be. You just may not be that. And that's the reality Patriots fans, I think, struggle with, is you want to be something that may not be possible with this group.
Right. And that's just, basically what we're seeing is that the Patriots are not only playing to their strengths offensively, but they're also realizing that there is a formula for them to win games like this, right? They just blew out a Chargers team who on paper, a lot of people felt was more talented than they were. And that was clearly not the case here today. But, I think that that's what you can continue to see moving forward, is that can they do enough scheming up and just physically dominating the opponent? Because at the end of the day, the running game is just about physically dominating the guy across from you. Can your line and your tight ends and your fullbacks just will the opposition, the defense, just move those guys off the ball? And that's what they were able to do at key times in this game, and in their good moments offensively. But I think ultimately we're going to still hear a lot of the criticism about Cam Newton as a thrower, because even still, some of the passes that he did complete, it wasn't perfect. There's some situations there that the missed deep ball to Demir Bird, he got behind the defense. Now, is it Cam's fault that there was pressure there and he had to sidestep it and kind of step up in the pocket, and that definitely delayed the process a lot? No, it's not Cam's fault that he had to do that, but nobody else is going to realize that, right? Everybody else is just going to see him underthrow Demir Bird and say that as the quarterback underthrew the football. He did underthrow the football, but it was more about timing than anything else, right? So I think ultimately they're going to make you kind of be one-dimensional. A good defense is going to force you to throw the football like Houston did. They're not a great defense, but they were able to do that a few weeks ago. Can the Patriots get enough of their passing game to be able to open this up? Or is Josh McDaniels just going to go out there and scheme it up so well in the running game that it's not going to make a difference? So I'm really interested to see next week against the Rams, who have a great, great defense, one of the best defenses in football, how they are able to now, okay, we've seen a lot of these things the Patriots did in their opening script on tape, the Wildcat stuff and the different option plays that they ran today. How do defenses then adjust, and can they shut it down? Or are the Patriots just too multiple on the ground to be able to be shut down, because they have a great offensive line, they have a great back, they have a running quarterback, so they can run you inside, they can run you outside, they can use the quarterback as a running threat, they can not use the quarterback as a running threat and just go under center and just bowl you over like bowling pins. They can do it all. They can do it all from a running game perspective, and it's a lot more to think about for the defense than people give it credit for, just because they're not watching guys streak down the field and catch bombs all day from Cam.